Welcome to the BLTnT Podcast. I'm your host, Matt Loria, serving up real stories of business, life, technology, and transformations. You'll hear from interesting people about big changes from career shifts to life-altering decisions and the innovations that help make it all happen. It's about sharing those light bulb moments, pivot points, challenges overcome, and the journeys that inspire us to think differently. If you're on the lookout for insights to propel you forward, stories that resonate, or just a bit of inspiration on your next BLTnT move, you're in the right place. Let's dig in. All right, welcome to another episode of the BLTnT Podcast, where we're talking about business, life, technology, and transformations. Proudly sitting here with my buddy John Glon.
Happy to be here.
Glad you're here. I feel like I'm going to be in the hot seat a little bit because you're a fellow podcaster, so I want to make sure that I put out a quality product like you do. So I feel a little bit on my toes here.
Well, I'm also a customer of yours.
You are. That's true too. Yeah. So I gotta say nice things about you too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're also somebody that I really respect, not just because of what you built, but kind of who you've become and the transformations that you've gone through and kind of, well, I won't spill the beans here right at the beginning, but you know that you've really transformed yourself personally, in your business as well. And I'm just very impressed. So glad that you're here. Glad that we get a chance to talk about this and let's see what unfolds.
Absolutely. Long time coming, man.
Awesome.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So I'm going to give a little background too. So John's the CEO of Great Lakes Essential Power. He's also a Bloom growth coach, and he's the host of the Roll Call podcast. So certainly have a lot of different hats that you've got going on here. All that have a very good through line though, that keeps it all together. Also, you've kind of been through the fire, right? You've been through the ups and downs of business. Certainly have emerged as more of a peaceful character, I would say, than when we first met. And not that you were
I was an asshole for sure.
You were not an asshole by any means, but you were definitely running on some serious horsepower and running on some serious adrenaline and making it all happen. But not at a sustainable pace. I would probably have to guess.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, here you are, the CEO of a company, and you're also doing these multiple things. So talk about what's going on in life here with regard to that and the transformations that you're making.
Yeah. So Great Lakes Essential Power, I started that company a little over 11 years ago. And, we're a manufactured rep firm, sell heavy electrical equipment. And, that started out of not necessity, but an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that I came out of college and with GE. And so I was doing that job for 10 years. It's what I knew. I knew I didn't want to stay in the corporate world. The further up I went, the more I realized I had to sell my soul a little bit or whatnot. And I just realized the corporate world wasn't for me. And it was in my bones all along to be an entrepreneur. I just didn't know it. I thought I had to make my splashes somewhere else in the corporate world. And once I realized that it was just too much, I was traveling so much. I had 2 young kids at home, and I joked that they didn't know my name. It was time. It was time to do something different. And again, it was there, and it was just a great opportunity. I knew that at the time, GE owned that part of the business, and they just didn't know how to go to market with 6 different divisions calling in the same marketplace. And I thought, everyone calls me anyway, so let's just go do this. And so do it a different way. And so I still had the same mothership, right? There was still GE, that I was just getting paid differently, and I was just doing things a little differently.
So you kind of essentially went from a sales rep to a manufacturer's representative organization. Is that true, or just distribution group?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was a district manager, from Wisconsin, calling on Wisconsin to Western New York and Western PA. And again, so ultimately in a sales organization, we're just manufacturers reps. So we don't buy and sell anything. We represent those companies and get paid a commission for it. So we just get paid differently. And although we are still we have to answer to the mothership, we still get to make our own decisions. And that was scratching my entrepreneurial itch. Fast forward through many, COVID hit, and the whole construction industry went nuts. And, uh, there's lots of storylines in there about some learnings that I had. And that's how I learned, unfortunately, is by skinning my knees. And I would say I skinned my knees off during the last few years, figuring that out. And, so through that, and we'll have plenty of stories to go through there, but through there, I've had many journeys of finding myself, again, making some mistakes on the business front, which then translates into stress and affects the family and affects everything else. So I went on a pretty substantial journey over the past 4 years, 5 years of like, what the hell do I want to do? Who am I? Who am I showing up as? And really, it's the people that have come into my life through these past years that have helped me realize that I was really showing up as someone else. You talk about the horsepower, right? It was just, I'm running, I'm gunning, I'm going to be successful no matter what, right? That's what I came out of the womb with, that really. And, realizing, well, I thought I did anyway. But what I realized was I was just chasing, trying to prove everyone wrong, trying to prove my worth.
Mm.
And then once I stopped chasing that, I realized that um, in that I leave a wake, even though I do feel like I've always been a good person. And I feel like I've showed up for most people in a good way, enjoyable, likable, don't burn bridges. But at the same time, when you look back at the wake, you realize that, they, again, I didn't like hit anyone or really tell anyone off, or like they didn't even leave hating me, but they're always like, man, what was that? There's something, right? I didn't feel totally whole. And I realized that was just me with the focus moving forward.
Mm.
And so through a lot of searching, and again, we could sit here for hours about how I've gotten there, but really it was, um, what it boils down to is looking at myself first before I look at all the external factors. I was blaming everything else. I was blaming my company. I was blaming the representation. I was blaming the market, blaming all these other things, blaming my people, blaming whatever it is. And realizing, and at home, right? Uh, Ultimately, it just comes down to finding out who I am and at my core. And again, there's many things that go into that. But ultimately, what I found out through that from a professional standpoint is I love entrepreneurs. I love entrepreneurship. I love what it takes to be one. I love again, there's all types of them, and they're not all lovable. But I love what they provide to the economy, to people. Again, it can be great success stories of money. It can be great success stories of time, because it allows them to do things that are enjoyable and be with their family. Um, it's a great example of learning, because on the go, like I have an MBA, but I haven't applied a single thing because I don't know what the hell I learned in the MBA. I have a business degree. Didn't apply any of that because I don't know what the hell I learned there. I just went through the motions. So what you learn as an entrepreneur, I think, is what really makes this world go round. And so through this, I realized I want to help entrepreneurs. I love the aspect of entrepreneurs. I don't love my company, Great Lakes Essential Power. I don't love electrical equipment, right? I don't have a passion for that, but I have the passion for the business side of it.
Mm.
And so what I've really, what I've come to is realizing that I want to spend more time with entrepreneurs, and I want to spend time helping entrepreneurs. And so that's what I've been, when you mentioned I've got a few things going right now, as in, with my company, I want to spend my time doing the things I love inside that company. It's taken me a while to figure that out. But I also want to transition that to employees who want to realize a dream they probably didn't know they had. Not many people can take the risk or the leap to be an entrepreneur.
Sure.
They might not have it in their DNA because it's not all great. It's not all fun. But that's ultimately what I've wanted to do. And I found a way to try to do that while also getting to do some things that I love, which is, again, sitting with leadership teams and executives and helping them, not that I have the answers, but help them uncover the answers for themselves. And so I'm showing up as a Bloom growth coach now. And it really is, again, I don't have all the answers. I'm not, as a consultant, I don't have the answers. I have a lot of experience, mostly because of things I've done wrong. But now with what I've seen other clients do, I was doing this pro bono for a couple years with some nonprofits or with friends getting startup. And I just found a great way. Bloom Growth launched a coaching side of the business And I was able to be a part of one of the early cohorts of that a year and a half ago. And so now I have a means by which that I have a structure and a backbone of, again, how to operate and run a company that I can share with clients. And then I have my own gift that God has given me of facilitation and sitting with humans and reading humans and their behavior and helping leadership teams come to the right decisions.
Sure. I keep hearing the recurring word of help that keeps coming out. And so the people who I really enjoy the most, I hear that they're helpers, they're servants, right? And they're servant leaders.
Yeah.
And so it's a hard thing to say out loud because it can sometimes sound self-aggrandizing and whatnot. But I mean, that's really, if I was to strip away everything else that I heard, I'm like, oh, John really loves to serve. Who does he love to serve? He loves to serve entrepreneurs, right? Who does he love to serve? He loves to serve others. And it's kind of resonating with the fact that, look, you're even acknowledging that the next level of leader inside of your company might not be somebody who had that innate drive to be an entrepreneur, right? Because entrepreneur starts off in the dugout, not even at home plate.
Yeah.
Right. You're saying, hey, you know what? I've created something of value here. I can start somebody off at second base, right?
Yeah, right.
With some good steam behind them. So, they're the people to take it to where it goes next. And so, you're serving them, you're serving the leaders that you're talking to and helping facilitate.
Yeah. No, that's very true on the help side. I think again, that's the part that that I truly did come out of the womb with. Saw my dad as a figure growing up. My parents were split when I was young, but my dad, was always serving the community in what he was doing. Right, he actually was driving a tow truck for my whole career, for my whole life, but he was constantly, if someone was, broken down, he was the one that would stop and help them, and they'd try to pay him. He'd be like, no, I'm like, Dad, you're running a business. What are you doing? But that was my dad, always there. And in the community, he was always known as the humble helping guy.
Wow.
Right. He was the usher at church. He was, all of those things. And, the helping put a shopping cart away when it's in the parking lot of a grocery store. That's what I saw growing up. And that's how I show up in many of the cases. And, another role that I play in the community is I'm the president of the Dad's Club for my children's school, which we run all the athletics and everything. And I found out, and I was president of my fraternity and in college. And there's a lot of that's in there, me trying to think I need to go prove myself and be out front. But I've always found myself like, certainly in volunteer situations, I don't know, you've been a part of these where someone's like, hey, we need someone to do this. And you look around and it's just crickets. Shit. Okay. Right. Because I know something needs to get done. So that's
called Catholic guilt, but yeah.
Yes. Fair. But I've had to unlearn some of that. That's right. Everything I say yes to, I say no to something else.
Yeah.
And so that is just something in me. And I've had some people challenge me a little bit that, am I trying to prove that I am smarter, gooder, better than others by showing up in that way? And I've really had a lot of work on that. I'm like, wow, am I?
You're right. What's the why behind
what's the real why? Is it just would I do this if no one's looking, or am I doing it because I'm on show? Because I've always loved being in front. So there's been and my wife's challenged me on that one quite often. But no, even stripping that back, there's a lot of that. There is a lot of that, right? That we all bring to the party from our childhood, right?
Sure.
Whatever we're trying to prove. But it does and I've tested it time and time again in many different ways. And I look and I see, do I do it when no one's looking? And I do. And really working genius, which I know we talked about a little bit. I got certified that along the way because I found a real joy in that as well, because it's about, oh my gosh, what happens if you actually love what you're doing? How good are you going to be at it? And what if we let everybody else do that too? And my geniuses are wonder and enablement. And enablement it's like the hardest one to put your finger on, because that's the one in the work where enablement means first person that just says, someone says they need help and you raise your hand. And so they're not the one that created the idea. They're not the one that got everybody excited to go do the idea. And they're not the one that finished it. Because by the way, I don't finish anything. I never finish anything. So the enablement gets kind of lost in the shuffle of all the work that gets done. But me being wonder and enablement, like I ask questions, I just look around me and ask questions. And then I wait for someone that needs help, and then I respond. So I'm a responsive person. I'm not an active person in that. And, it just rings true. Again, I do assessments, everything else. I try to jip an assessment, or, change an assessment around by being something else. It comes back to the same thing. And it's
great.
Yeah.
So you're just, I mean, overall, you've gotten to know yourself better than you've ever had before.
Yes.
And I think some of that comes with age, but I think you also just have to really seek it out. I mean, we've definitely heard that people cap out. Typically people stop growing at about 25 years old in the mental capacities, and don't really ever truly get to that self-actualizing place. So it doesn't just happen from aging. You got to seek it out. You have to seek it out. You have to learn. You have to grow. You have to be willing to be humble. You got to be willing to be vulnerable and do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, Bob Holland, right, our renowned Vistage chair, what did he say? The 6 stages of a leader or of life, or that humans go through, right? And most people stop at 3 or 4, and then there's the give back part, where people normally like getting to that in their 50s and 60s, like, okay, well, wait a minute, what am I supposed to give back?
Correct.
Right. And finding that a little earlier, again, most time it just happens through experience, or happens through a life experience of like, I'm retiring or whatever. Something triggers it.
Sure.
Mine just got triggered a lot earlier,
which I think is great. I mean, while you've got the runway to deal with it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And again, most times it takes some bad shit. It takes something to get you down to, oof, am I really happy, or what am I? And
so what was the, I know you've given me a few examples, but what was the example that made you really start to seek this out? Because what I recall is that a few years ago, you were working with a fellow named Coach Bob.
Yep.
Bob
Shenefeld.
Shenefeld. Yep. And he wrote a book, and he runs a program for visionary leaders. And you hooked up with him and went on some crazy trip, and you came back. You came back floating.
Yeah.
So, explain that.
Yeah.
And what drove you to do that too?
Yeah, sure. So this was towards the end of 2020 into 21, maybe it was 21. And again, this was the COVID, and I'm not necessarily about COVID, but where I was with the company, and again, how I'm showing up with my family. My family was growing. I have 4, so I should stop. I have a beautiful wife, Colleen.
You should stop having kids. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Well, you
should stop.
That's number 1.
You've had a lot.
Yes, it is time. and yeah, you should talk about it. Yeah. We've been together for 18 years. Will be this year. We have 4 kids, awesome kids. Son Brady will be 15 this month. My daughter Avery will be 13 in July. Murphy will be 7 in June, and Henry it just turned 4 in April.
Awesome.
And that time frame with COVID and everything else, we're all together, and what was happening with everything else in life, the stress, finances, and everything else was showing up as me being a bad husband, a bad father. And that's what, just like, that, not quite depression, but that's the kind of stuff that was really, I was questioning my value, my God, I'm tearing my family down, because financially, like this is my job, is to make money and be successful and have a house and be on a country club. And that was my definition of success, because I didn't have that growing up. And so that's all I was charging for. And that's when I started asking, like, what is success? And my EOS implementer and dear friend, Mike Kotsis, he's actually one of the shining reasons why, and Coach Bob, why I wanted to go in that growth coaching side of the business, was because it wasn't just, they weren't coming in to coach my business. Mike Kotsis would always know where I was as a human, and sense in the room to help my leadership team, help uncover and cover up where I needed help, because he knew me as a human. Well, during that time, again, late 2020, early 21, I was like, I need something, and he knew it. And he connected me with Coach Bob. He's like, well, Coach Bob does visionary coaching, and he has this thing called Go to the Mountain that I've heard great things about. So I said, boom, I started watching all of Bob's videos that he had on. I'm like, holy shit, I gotta, he has like 6 principles of being a great effing visionary and all these things. And I'm like, all right, I just got to call the guy. And he's a local Michigan guy, in Birmingham. So I called him and I was like, man, I've heard about this mountain. I, I don't know. I just got to talk to you. I'm in a rut. We talked all these things, and he's like, well, the next mountain isn't for like 4 months. And I'm like, shit. I was at a point where I was like, okay, what else you got? Right. And he's like, well, I do individual coaching and all these other things.
I need the adrenaline shot.
Yeah,
I need the EpiPen.
I was sitting outside my office, like in my car, talking to him, and it was like this whole, like, I can't step over this threshold right now. Like, talk to me, man. And so we started doing. We just said, all right, I'm going to coach under him, right, as a personal coach. He created a process called I Matter, and it is just some curated methodology of daily check-ins and weekly check-ins and things like that about how you get to and find yourself, and you help you uncover your own North Star. And a lot of that process is going through some child trauma and uncovering a lot of that. And did that for about 1.5 years. And again, that was starting to uncover a lot of things for me. And
did you invest money in doing this too?
Oh, yes. By the way, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this was at a time that
didn't have money.
You're investing money. You're investing all this time
in me,
Mhm.
right? I was paying money to coach me. And that's always a fun conversation too at home. And you're like, well, we can't afford this, but I sure can. Let me go work on me. And God bless my wife for dealing with me through these years. Because I've invested a lot of time and a lot of money. And it's not all about money, but it is real. So that's another thing. Any entrepreneur, any leader, any company who's not investing money in someone else coaching them is really missing the boat. I mean, that's why we're in Vistage and things like that, because we don't have all the answers. But so that was step one, right? Just doing the coaching, and that, again, not cheap. And then about 1.5 years in, I was like, all right, I'm finally ready to do the mountain. And so we did it. It was March of 22 or 23. And that started my real journey. We were going deep, but I went out to, and it's a 3-day retreat out in Colorado, no drugs, no mushrooms or anything like that.
Clothed, right? Fully clothed?
No.
Okay.
We're not naked, but
okay.
We'll get, so there's a sweat lodge that most people start freaking out about, but it is, it's about being in the mountains. It's just a process by which, and again, we went with strangers. There was 6 of us. And so it's not like you can do it with buddies, but it's there's an immense power, and it's an amazing.
Does Bob know all these people though? So is that the only common thread, or these even strangers?
Yeah. And it wasn't like close friends. There was, of the group, I was probably the closest with him because he was coaching with me, right?
Okay.
Or I was coaching with him. But it was amazing. There was some person that just happened to find out about it, and on a whim, same thing. She was at her breaking point, just sold her company, and was figuring out what's next, and hyper entrepreneurial, where she had a child too. Again, there's a lot I'm so focused and successful, and what's next, and how do I be a parent, and all those things, right? All the things that we deal with as humans, as entrepreneurs and parents, and the whole thing. She just came on a whim, and that's not cheap, right? This is a whole nother another plop down. That again, that was a hard sell.
That one's gutsy too. I mean, it's not just an investment of money and of time. I mean, it's there's some discomfort, right? I mean, you're going to a high altitude place.
Yeah.
You're talking about going through a sweat lodge. I mean, you're hiking, so this isn't like just I'm investing, X thousands of dollars and then I come out with a certificate. It's no, you're investing the money, and then you got to do some serious work while you're there.
And if you don't go just to go, so many people, can just throw money at something hey, I'm going to go try this thing. It's going to be
like a gym membership. Right?
Yeah.
I've paid that tax before.
Yeah. Right. This is, you got to be serious and know that you're going to go make some breakthroughs, and you got to be committed to breakthroughs. And like I said, some people come in with a little bit of a barrier, and then you realize it's amazing. Complete strangers that you end up bearing your soul more than you would to your wife or your mom, right? Because sometimes, again, as an entrepreneur, sometimes we don't share all the bad stuff.
Yep.
Because we don't want them to get scared, right? Their confidence is, when we're confident, then life is good. But when we start looking weak, they're like, uh-oh, now what? In many cases anyway. And so, it's just amazing that the process is just by, hey, what's really ailing us? And then we spend time talking to each other. None of us have the answer. And it's not about telling each other what they should go do. It's the uncovering of what's inside you, and then other perspectives. And then so we meet with a shaman. His name's Leaf Running Rabbit, another phenomenal human being who is just an incredibly centered um, and present human. And you get just different perspectives of how to look at life through gratitude and everything else. And again, life is all about choices. You can choose to take that experience and go back and do the same things, or you can choose to like, this is a change for me. And it's about how I am showing up. And again, that didn't solve everything. It did show me. I mean, you said you saw the difference in me. Like
Oh
we had a
yeah,
business meeting the
I feel
following
like
week.
yeah. I mean, you came back. I think you were lighter.
Yeah.
You were talking about your new friend Running Rabbit, and we all thought you were a little crazy, but
Yeah.
no, I mean, not to make light of it, but it was definitely like, whoa, what happened here? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But it was obviously very pivotal, very, very impactful to you.
Yeah.
So you came back. How did your wife react to kind of this next level of, well, I mean, we'll call it
Yeah.
like self-actualizing or enlightenment
Yeah.
of some way. I mean, because really
Yeah.
that's what you're doing is you're growing through this experience
Yeah.
and you're trying to make sense of it, right? You know,
Yeah.
it feels good. You don't really know exactly what to do with it at this
Yeah.
point, right?
Yeah.
This episode of the BLTnT Podcast is sponsored by Auxiom, business IT and cybersecurity designed to outsmart chaos. And powered by Juniper Networks. Automate your network with Juniper Networks and the Mist AI platform, the world's first AI-driven wired and wireless network.
I think she knows me enough to know that um, I'm a visionary in the mindset that I change all the time, right? I get excited about this, but I don't finish. I know when I do something wrong and I come back and apologize, or and so she's accustomed to me, or I jump on a new fad and an idea, and she's like, okay, I'll just wait till you stop getting excited about it, just like the people on our team do, right? Um, and this one, she could see a difference in how I was showing up. I was calmer, which again, which was helping everyone else in the family. But admittedly, she was just like, well, I'm just waiting to see John come back, right? Like, is this just a show for a little bit? And, again, I have been changed ever since then, and for the better, but it is a constant journey. And I'd say in the past 2 years, I've actually even exponentially changed, right? Because then I realized I'm at a different level of where I am in my understanding of myself. I need another. So Abiza Rashid is now my next level. And I will say an amazingly highest level coach that I could ever suggest of someone from a human, not necessarily just, many times as executives, we want an executive coach and things like that.
Of course.
He is a transcending human being that is about presence and intention, and the business stuff comes with it, right? It's not the, I've started and sold 3 companies and that's my experience I bring to you. It is not that at all. What, really just showing me how we show up, how much it affects everyone else in a way that, again, I could be upset with how my team shows up, how my kids show up, or again, my wife is nagging me, or, one example was we'd have and he doesn't have a process, right? He's just an intensely inquisitive person. And I've been doing it for a long time, but doing it from uh, a from a good heart versus trying to do it professionally. And he and I just sat and had coffee one day because we were just acquaintances of group, right? Of Coach Bob. And so we just met, and he started asking me questions and undressing me in a way that was so much out of love, and um, but he was just calling me on my shit without saying it that way, right? And I was like, because it comes up with again, maybe an argument I was having with my wife, and he's like, "Oh, you're blaming her." Yeah, because how dare she? I come in the door, I have a great day, and oh, the kids and all the things she's like, "Have you think about what she was thinking about?" Oh, and you expect her to just be wow and awesome and loving because you're in a great mood?
Jump right up to your energy level.
Yeah.
And
Shit. And then we just looked at him. I'm like, all right, man, when do we start? Right. So I kind of helped him launch it and doing it professionally. And, I've been with him ever since. And, I can't talk highly enough of having someone else that can help you uncover your blind spots in a way that's loving. And, and again, so what he's done for me, for my family, because again, how we show up, everyone else, right? Our intention
yeah, you're the conductor.
changes, right? Yeah. And, um, and how many times in business we try to get a win, and that means someone has to lose, right? So certainly getting clients, or again, an intense negotiation, um, trying to sell something, try to buy something, right? There's always someone, people trying to negotiate, and it's like, what if we all went in and looked for harmony in it? No one says win-win, right? Well, there's a
Yeah.
third, like win-win-win,
Yep.
right? Because there's you and
Yep.
I, but then
Them
does
win
anyone else
together.
benefit?
Yep.
So,
Or those around us.
right. And so if I'm like, oh gosh, like I said, if I'm trying to sell my company and to an employee, well, I want this number. Well, they think this number. Oh, then it's off, right? How many times have we just like, well, no,
Right.
wait, what's the real intentionality? What are we really trying to get out of this?
Sure.
And how often do we really stop and think about that in our transactions?
I think if we look at, the more I look at every relationship as a marriage, right, that says, hey, this really, we're getting into this with the intention of being into this for the long term. So if we start off in a negotiating standpoint where it's negative like that, we're setting a negative tone, right? You and
Yeah.
Colleen didn't negotiate. Will you marry me? No, maybe, but maybe if you make, this much money, then yeah, I'll do it. Like you're not going through those levels of negotiation. You're going, no, do we both think that is this good for me? Is this good for you? Is this going to be good for our future kids? Is this going to be
Yeah.
good for our future grandkids?
Yeah.
And I mean, that's how the win-win-win plus, really comes out of things. Excuse me. We're both coughing a little bit today.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I did see the news was on yesterday morning, and I saw that all the pollen levels were real high. So I guess I didn't realize I must have some pollen allergies or something. Let's take a little pivot here of kind of incorporating some of these different conversations. So in your business, in the Great Lakes Essential Power business, you experienced a client loss a little while ago. And so it was very disruptive to the business. One, I'd like for you to talk about that so that other people obviously can understand that you can recover from these things.
Yeah.
But two, and really kind of more importantly to me, is your story of how does the John of today handle that different? How did you handle that different than you would have, pre 2021? When you started to do all this self work. What would you, what, and even talk every level of it that you can that comes to mind.
Yeah, I mean, there were some things happening in the background at that time too, that that it wasn't just about losing the client, right? I mean, they were a partner of ours forever, and depending on the year, they were anywhere from 30 to 60% of our revenue, and in a very specific part of our business. It's one of those we saw it, we knew something would be coming. They were purchased by another larger company, so again, something is always going to happen.
And just to be clear, this wasn't a client loss. This was a distribution channel.
Yeah, channel partner.
Channel partner. They changed their business model. It wasn't that you did something wrong or anything like that. It was just they changed the business model.
Yeah, we were collateral damage for some things they were doing nationally. And the old me, when you're asking, is like, I mean, it was also when we were trying to recover from things. We weren't fully recovered from what's happened in the last few years. And so there is oh shit, like here's another body blow, right? Here we go. Like here, what else? Actually, bringing it back to your business, right? Like a year prior is when we had the cybersecurity incident. You guys helped us figure out what happened. We ended up having to settle that one at, almost 6 figures. I was like, God, here's another thing. Like, we can't just get over that. We start getting over that. We just can't do it. We just can't do it. And that's been most of my life, is thinking that way. It's like, man, once I get this, then I'll do that.
Mm-hmm.
Once I get that, I'll do that. Then I'll be happy. And one of the shifts with Bob is, right, it's if we be first, the rest will happen. So the old me would have been into a tailspin, probably some drinking, probably lots of things, jump into motion, start jumping into figuring the solution out. Or the old me maybe would have run.
Maybe said, hey, I'm just going to close this up now. It's not worth it anymore.
Like, just to hell with it, right? The debt we have or whatever, I'll just do the easy thing, at hard but easy in the moment. Because I've done that in the past. With my previous business partner, in looking back, that was a run from. Didn't want to deal with it, so I can take care of that.
Catherine here always says, are you running towards something that you really want, or are you running from something?
Yeah.
Because running towards something is okay. Running from, it's always going to leave collateral damage behind, and other things in your wake.
Yeah. So running from things, you're not making the right decisions generally.
Not typically, yeah.
Right. And you don't find that out till later. And so the different for me was, and it literally, because I was at golf league, my phone was in my bag. After league, I opened it up and they just texts, just like, this is coming, blah, blah, blah. Is it real? Is it true? I was like, after just a great round of golf, like all that stuff. And so I decided not to stick around for dinner that night. And I came home to my wife and I was like, Colleen, hey, got some really bad news. I'm not ignoring you to talk about it. Right now, I don't want to go down the path today. I want to go to bed and I want to get up in the morning and I want to start fresh. And I wasn't doing it from a running. I was like, I want to wake up and do a list of what am I here to learn from this. Never would have done that before. Trust me. It's like, what do we have to go do?
Allowed some marinating.
Yeah. And so then woke up in the morning and said, what are we here to learn from this? And I still have the note card in my bag. And because now I'm, I part of my journey was also realizing God in my life. I grew up Catholic. So I'll go off on a tangent for a second and I'll come back. Grew up Catholic, always questioned it, always questioned the story of the Bible. How can all these different religions be really praying to the same guy if they have a different story about how it gets there? Bullshit, right? I just show up as a good human. I think the 10 Commandments are a great way to live, so let me just do that. But then through this journey, and really Abizer has been a big piece of this, is, and not even having to bring religion in it, but there is a higher power. What is it, right? Different people say different things. And so what is, instead of thinking, God, what was me? Why'd this happen to me? What am I here to learn from it? Because God is doing this to set me up for something. And so that's what I did the next day. What am I here to learn from this? And then I realized what a blessing it was, because you get captive in doing this work this way. This is the only way you know how to do it. But how often do you poke your head out and be like, I've wanted to fire them for years because culture fit. They treated our people like shit, but
never had the guts.
They're a huge piece of the business. And I told my team, I hope to be able to fire them someday, because I hate that they treat me like shit. You
got your wish, didn't you?
And I got my wish, right? Be careful what you wish for, depending, right? And so then we came back, and the more the team came back, they realized, this asshole's not going to call me anymore. Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it frees up my day.
Yeah. Now, granted, we had to figure some stuff out. And instead of just diving in to go figure who are we going to go do? What are we going to go? We slowly did it. And I think, granted, could we have moved faster? Absolutely. But we found, again, just so happened, we had a partner reach out to us. They had a situation that we never thought they would part from their manufacturer. And they were ready to make a change. Like, it just happened. They called and like, holy cow, like, let's talk. And they all are just good people. They're now signed up. Like, so we've come out of it much stronger, much with wide open about what we want and how we can relook at things. And so it's been great for us.
Don't you have to wonder if that almost added, think about if you would have handled it the old way, even just the stress response on your body that you
Oh,
didn't allow to happen this time,
oh,
you
like,
know, or even
yeah, and
if
I
you
know.
did, but
No, and I know, obviously, heart issues. I know you know what
sure.
that is. Um, you know, my health, and I just had my a quick checkup yesterday, right? My blood pressure was increasingly becoming a problem. Like when I was 35, 36, you know, starting the company, right? I'm running, I'm gunning, we're drinking, strategizing, and having a long lunch and doing all these things, just running myself ragged. And then the stress, I'm not sharing it with anyone, not sharing it with my wife, all those things. And yeah, and so then my doctor was like, all right, we can't ignore this anymore. You're gonna go on medication.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Or you could also choose to be healthier, less stress and all those things. So I just had a check-in yesterday and think I'll be off medication hopefully the next visit. Because yes, I am working out and I'm doing the physical things, but the way that I'm comprehending things is not causing the stress.
Mm-hmm.
The same shit is happening. I'm just going
It's all
about it
your
in a different way.
reaction, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, that's everything we've ever been taught. I mean, whether it's Bill Crawford, Life from the
Yeah.
Top of the Mind, or it's
Yeah.
the there was just a gentleman, Jay Reifenberry was talking about some things at another group that I went to, and it's all of our reaction to the stimulus, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's all the response,
Mm-hmm.
and pretty amazing. So where did all this journey get you on the God piece? Did it bring you back to where you started? Did it make you think of things differently? How do you personally think now at this point in time?
So now God is in me, is in you. All everything that we do is through God. I wholeheartedly believe that now. Um, I still have issue with the storyline,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't need that. I don't need, because it's faith. Faith is belief without seeing. Well, you know what? I needed to see, and now I recognize and see every action that's happening as God's action. So and again, this is the thing. My wife is an anxious person, and a lot of it is, again, she's always worried about the future or a regret about the past. And that's what takes us down so many different paths. And realizing that, hey, right now is where we are, and God will show us the way at some point, right? I don't have to dream and yes, I can put some time into strategizing and thinking. That's gonna happen through him. I don't have to
Mm-hmm.
put the stress on myself to fix this right now. And that's just a new belief. And I know now. Again, before it was I'm hearing a story, I'm hearing a Bible. Like I say, Bill Crawford, I'm hearing someone speak. Sure, that's great. Until I experience it, know it, and feel it, now I'm there, right? And so again, I was just a sponsor for uh, a friend of mine's son, who was confirmed on Tuesday. And when he asked me, I didn't think I was worthy in the past. I wouldn't have been, because I questioned, right? Again, I've been in the Catholic Church my whole life, and my kids are in Catholic school. And I believe it's a good way to live, but I always just like, someone tells me a Bible verse or tells me a story from the Bible. I'm like, okay, like I don't remember. I've heard it, but and so when he asked now, I was so actually excited, because and the way the process is with the church he was a part of is it's very involved from a sponsor perspective, right? Lots of questions. And like when my own kids are confirmed at ours, it's like, yep, because they're in Catholic school. So like, yeah, okay, we're checking the box. That's already
Mm-hmm.
covered. In this one, right, they're asking me a lot of questions, like 5 questions every 2 weeks that I had to respond to in an interview format about my view of God and all these things. And I was like, I I can answer these, right? Like it
Wow.
was in the past, it was like I felt like an imposter if I was going to try to do that,
Sure,
right?
you had to get there. I mean, but you
Yeah,
had to get there through your journey,
absolutely.
right? It
My
wasn't.
experience, yeah, I needed some evidence, and the evidence is clear as day, and I see it constantly.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So, you decided to start a podcast as well, which, I've told my story of the why and all
Mhm.
that, and I don't think I don't believe it to be all that profound of what why I'm doing
Yes,
it,
it is.
but I think it. Let me say that slightly differently.
Yeah.
I don't believe that I'm doing something dramatically different than other people. but I'm doing it with a purpose of, kind of spreading the stories of other people. And it's something I truly enjoy, is getting to know other people and getting to know people on a deep level.
Yeah.
What made you want to do this, and what's the why behind it? What's the outcome been?
Yeah. I'll
Expand on all that for me.
So a couple things. One, this is a shout out to Leduc Entertainment. Armando Leduc and Will Brooks happen to be a client of mine on the coaching side. And that's what they do, is produce podcasts, right? And I never thought I had a story to tell. I was like, well, what am I going to do? Like, all right, all these guys are great. They have this great podcast and they're engaging and they get all these people on their podcast. I don't belong in that world. I just want to stay in the shadows and do my thing. And they're like, called bullshit on me. And they're like, just get in front of a camera. Right? Like, let's just do this. And it was like, okay, it felt natural. And they realized, they're like, when they break it down, like, you're a curious person and you're just going to ask questions and talk to people. You're good at having conversations. So just do that. Okay.
You're interested versus worrying about being interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so part of it was just getting all that stuff. I don't do social media. I don't know all that kind of stuff. Right. Cause it's like, I don't love when people say, hey, I'm at the gym working out, like that. And that's mostly where I come from, or like, that was just the generalization that, social media, I'm not, no one's interested in what I'm doing. That was kind of the first part. The second thing was really, I'm just curious. And I love to get, I love entrepreneurship, as I said, but I love everything else that comes from it. And I love people appreciating and understanding that there is more to life than just what they do. It's tough to me when I like when people come up and the first thing they say is, what do you do? It's like, well, thanks, but let's get to know each other a little bit first, right?
So what do you want them to say? Who are you?
Yeah.
Right? Would that be a better thing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Who's John Glon?
What do you do? Yeah. Right. I love it when people say, well, why are you here? Well, I'm here for, no, why are you here? Oh, look out. Right. That's a tough one. People.
Our son asked my wife that when he was like 6 years old. Freaked her out. Right.
Yeah.
Why are we here? Like, why are we here at grandma's? No, like, why are we here?
That's awesome.
And I mean, so think about that, from that age on. So he's always been quite a thinker, and
hopefully he keeps that up, because that's mostly.
He does. He's 32 now. That's our oldest one. So it's like, it's amazing how deep of a thinker he is.
Oh, that's great. Because mostly we beat that out of our children, or school does, or right? Like, no.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
Math, learn math.
Ignore that.
But so that's why it's called the roll call, ROLE, is I want everyone to emphasize what role we do play in life, as a parent, as a son, as a brother, as a sister, as a father, as a community leader, potentially, or just a helper, and understand the role we play within our company, and not just, I'm the CEO, but like, what role do you play as the guy that comes in and bombs into a meeting and sprinkles your little shit dust and changes the whole meeting. And
they just don't allow me in those. So that prevents the shit dusting.
Yeah. And so that's where it started. And then now it's just been, just like this. It's just having a conversation. And what I like about it too is, I'm not trying to get a Joe Rogan or you name it, or a CEO of a big Fortune 500 company on there. Maybe that's fun and great. I want people that it's not what they do. It's like, do the same. If I can offer the same thing that Leduc did me, which is like shedding the bullshit, because most people are like, I'll be on a podcast. Well, I got to prepare.
I've been on camera. What do
I
say? I'm not that interesting. I'll have people say that. I go, you're interesting. I had a guy the other day say, I don't know if I'm going to be like, what's your average podcast? I said, well, we're about an hour, is this guy, and he says, an hour. He's like, I don't know if I'm that interesting. I said, well, but if we went to lunch, we would talk for about an hour, and it would kind of naturally come to an end at about an hour. Right. And then this was developed over lunch. Right. Yeah. So it just kind of takes that cadence, and his lasted an hour and 40 minutes. so we might even break that one into two. I don't know if yours will get posted first or his, or how that'll work, but, it's just funny, the stuff that the baggage we come with these assumptions and these things that we say. Like I said, hey, I don't anticipate being the next Joe Rogan. I'm going to go into this anticipating that it generates no monetary value, but that it generates value. It generates value to the person who's in that seat and to the people who are watching it. And if it does that, then I've done my work, right?
Yeah.
Because good stuff always comes back. Good work, creating value always comes back.
Yeah. And that's one thing that a credit to you. You are great at helping people connect, right? I'm not sure if I've had a meeting, an actual like meeting with you that hasn't been like, hey, I can connect you a guy that does that, right? So you helping raise the tide of entrepreneurs, because your story is you're bringing some business leaders on and someone's going to learn or hear something really cool about it, or you're helping them by providing some content for them. Because again, most people don't use this format to help share their story or get the right or their content.
Right.
And so, yeah, your role in that is sharing stories, which is cool.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about the biggest myth in entrepreneurship that you're trying to kind of bust, right? And I asked that question because I feel like you've busted the myth for yourself, because it was like, I'm trying to do this. How do you look at entrepreneurship as busting the myth of what maybe people think that it is?
I've been hearing a lot lately about the knock. When an employee knocks on your office door and says, "Got a minute?" and you immediately know it's some sort of IT incident. But Auxiom IT can help. Whether you're having a problem, need consulting, an upgrade, or a managed IT approach, they focus on preventing cyber attacks and proactive solutions that deliver results. My friend Matt Loria and everyone at Auxiom are ready to help before or after you get the knock. Visit Auxiom.com and let Auxiom IT help you outsmart chaos.
It's not a lonely game. It doesn't have to be a lonely game. You look at entrepreneurship. I mean, how many one-man bands are there that are mowing lawns or billions of dollars, of companies, or ones that are doing 20, 30 million, and there's still one guy that's running and doing everything, right? There's people, but everyone has to go to that one person.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happens, right? Then it's lonely at the top because no one can help you. No one knows more than entrepreneurship than you and your own company in most cases, right? You're the one. You don't have anyone to go to. This is when you look at the thousands and thousands of small and medium businesses, that's how it goes. It's true grit, some ingenuity, right? And some luck, just hard work, right? That's
and I call it also an unemployability, right? We don't work well for others.
Oh no, right.
So there's that.
No, absolutely, yes. And then again, then it creates is, and that's the more success you have, the more you want to grow. And so everyone just dives deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into the business.
Yeah, like a boat, 2-foot-itis, right?
Yeah,
it's never enough.
Right. And then what happens to the family? And then all these things. You might be accumulating more money, but you're dying inside the business. And now you actually do have a job. Most entrepreneurs actually have a job, and it's this business they can't leave, and they're not making nearly the money that they're worth, but they can't leave. They're stuck to it. They can't get on vacation, all those things. And so I think the myth is it doesn't have to be a lonely game. And that, there isn't a single pill that takes all that. Every business is different, but there's methodology around taking care of that, right? It's having sharing your plan with other people. Most entrepreneurs, it's like, it's all in my head. I know what I want to do. Well, does he know what you want to do? Does anyone else know what you want to do? How are they going to help you get there? Right? They don't know how to ask for help. And actually, this is just going back to our mutual friend Matt Griffin, right? On my podcast, he's like, no one's going to come save you.
That was a great clip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
because we're all looking for the Messiah, right? In business. It's like, oh, we meet that coach, right? And so think about your own journey right there. I mean, like you're pivoting, adding, you're finding the magic cocktail for yourself of what works, but you're never saying like, oh, my this particular coach or this particular mentor is the one, right?
Right.
This is my only shining star that I'm going to follow.
Right. Because they're always evolving, right?
Absolutely. But
Humans are evolving.
but thinking that person's there, people are coming into your life. There's the poem, "A Reason, a Season, a Lifetime,"
Yeah.
right? Very few are the lifetime,
Yeah,
right? And so you have to acknowledge that and understand, hey, we're learning together, we're stepping stoning together to kind of up level.
Yeah, and there isn't a magic pill, by the way. Even if you have that lifer, they're not going to solve the problem, or they're not going to do it, right?
Correct.
There's ultimately, you have to jump in and take action, and so you got to have a plan. You got to have people that you trust. That if you're good enough, you will realize that you hire someone that's better than you at whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you've got to have a sales and marketing plan. That was time, because I know this. We become the top salesperson or the salesperson,
Mm-hmm.
and then that's not sustainable. That's not scalable.
Correct.
And then we end up not doing it effectively, right? So what's your sales and marketing plan, right? All these, then processes in place that someone else can go tackle and do that. What are the numbers and the finance and the data that you can understand that someone else can report about how to predict some things in the future, right? How's your team doing? What's the team health? What are you doing with technology? There are all kinds of things that, again, there's no magic pill. All those things together are little bits and pieces that can help you have someone, so you're not by yourself.
So you kind of broke this down into multiple myths of what you think entrepreneurship.
Well, there's 1,000 of
Yeah, right.
But the lonely part, there are many ways to go around that.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be.
Right.
It's certainly it's lonely at the top is an entrepreneurial myth. I think. I think that's the net of what you just said, right?
Yep.
And it's surrounding yourself with the coaches, the mentors, the doers, the people, the teammates,
Mhm.
right? That are augmenting and only focusing on their strengths.
Yeah.
Right. I think we've learned a lot about that. I mean, I can certainly say that I've learned that to try to take my C&D skills and turn them into a B or an A is damn near impossible.
Yeah, and it's a waste of time.
Yeah, and it's just ridiculously frustrating.
Yeah. It is funny you bring that up, because we all grew up in the schooling, right? I just talking to some teachers, and I had this starting to have some tougher conversations with my high schooler who's starting to get his own idea about what his effort should be.
Mm-hmm.
And or got in the corporate world or in reviews, like, hey, what are your strengths and weaknesses? Well, these are my weaknesses. So what are you doing to work on those? And I just wish my older, like, I am gonna just drop them off the face of the earth. I'm not gonna work a thing.
Do nothing.
No. You know what? These are my strengths. So let's find out how I can use those,
Mm-hmm.
and let's find someone else that can do those weaknesses. It is such a different mind shift. I wish the world would focus on that. How much better your company
You listen to Mel Robbins. You like Mel Robbins?
Yeah.
Or let them theory.
Mm. Yeah, let them.
Let them. Let them fall off the face of the earth for those weaknesses that we have. Don't try to strengthen those.
Yeah.
It's really a waste.
And it's hard. It's easy for like you and I to say that as the owner, like, I'll just find someone to do that. But think about all the people doing the work, and how many times we've judged Susie over here doing her job because she doesn't do, like, she can't be in. I just ask her to come up with ideas and she never comes up with them. She's terrible.
Right.
No, she's not. She's awesome at what she does.
Yeah.
She's not the right person to come up with a good idea.
Right.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, she executes.
Yeah. Right. So just knowing where people are, and let's celebrate what they do well.
See, and I'll argue that I don't think that it's easy for the leader or the entrepreneur or the visionary to just say that, to just say, hey, I'll just hire somebody to do that, because there's a cost to do that every single time. And that, I think that really starts to rent space in my brain. It's like, well, do I really need that? Then start second guessing, do I need that? Can I afford that? Should I do that? Is now the right time? So I think we, and then I think observers take it for granted that, well, you just hired that person. You just hired. It's like, yeah, but for 3 years I knew that I needed that person, but I didn't do it because I was afraid of the spend.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure the investment would pay off.
Thank you. Right. I definitely oversimplified, in thinking of a mindset, or most people think that, hey, You can just go do it because you're the owner versus.
But I think
solving
that's,
that.
but I think that's a fair observation because,
Yeah.
you know, on the surface, we're not necessarily divulging all the thoughts that go into it.
Yeah.
Right. They don't know that that was 3 years in the making of, I'm going to bring on this person, or an EOS world, like to bring on the integrator, you know, or whatever it is that you're hiring.
Yeah. Because you have the skill set to do the analysis. Like you have the experience and the wherewithal to think through all those things. Right. Because you already said, like, you didn't just say, I'll just go replace them. And you're like, well, no, what's the budget? What, what would they be doing? How do we cover that? What's our cash flow? Right. That's the other part of the entrepreneur that
Sure.
Everyone else who thinks, oh, that guy's got a great car. He owns his own business. Right. Yeah. What's all the other shit that goes along with that?
Sure.
Right.
One of the things that I really find interesting about your story is that you're still running the company, right, while building up the successors inside the company, and then running your own coaching platform under the Bloom umbrella, correct?
Mm-hmm.
What's the hardest part about transferring back and forth between the roles? How are you keeping it all together while you're doing this, and making everybody feel like that, you know, that you're not distracted?
Yeah, I would say, one, I'm not doing it well. So I can't say that we've got a great success story here in doing it all. But I will say on the Great Lakes Central Power side, I have people, right, that are trusted, that I've actually had running the business for 3 or 4 years. And that's great to say and think and do, right? As a business owner, you're like everyone, when we go golfing or we go see other entrepreneurs or visited, I'm not working much this week. I'm doing this, I'm doing that because I got people running the business, right? That's the,
yeah, right.
That always felt like the holy grail. And my wife threw that back in my face a couple weeks ago. When me being a coach, she's like, well, you always said that you wanted to have other people make you money. And now you're going to be an individual coach doing that. I'm like, ah, shit, don't call me on my own words. But that's always that to me was always like, we're in the owner's box. But then someone asked me like, yeah, but are you growing? Like crickets. It's like, shit. Not that they're not doing a good job. They're holding the dike together, right? There wasn't, I looking back, like we didn't have I wasn't back involved in the business. Cause again, I just turned my head and like, good, you guys got it. I'm going to go focus on this. I'm going to go be a coach over here. Right. And
that was kind of the first move.
Yeah.
How it happened.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So that was, I told everyone, hey, I found out what I love doing. Essentially, good luck.
Yeah.
Right. And they were all for it. They're like, man, that's great. We don't want you to be miserable. Like, thanks. Wow. You trust us. And then the channel issue happened. And then, so then I was building clients on the coaching side, halfway doing something over here. But again, the company they were running itself. And then our big issue happened with losing channel partner. And I was like, okay, the one thing I did realize is I got to get back in.
Because that is your highest and best use over there.
Yeah.
And that piece hasn't been replaced yet.
Right. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, not all of it.
Okay. Starting
Yeah.
to, but not all the way there.
And part of it was, again, also the act of understanding where we are financially, understanding, is this a transferable business, right? If I'm trying to transition to employees, like, do I hand over a turd or do I have it so that it can really excel and grow with them? So I realized that I had to jump back in, not to do all the fire drills and all the stuff, but to like, okay, let me get back in and help steer the ship. Get back to doing maybe some business development things. Again, doing the things where I see my team struggling to do something, where in the past I coached myself into like, no, I'm going to be the visionary. And so I'm not going to do this stuff anymore. Like, all right, let me go help the team. So me jumping back into that's been since July and August. I put the coaching really on the back burner.
Okay.
Not the work, not doing the work of coaching my clients, but business development. I wasn't. And I have been re-energized by it. I've been having a ball because I'm now actually jumping in and creating the tools that I've always wanted. Some of the financial projection things that I've always just like done spreadsheet wise and maniacally. I'm now finding other help around the world that can help me with technology to do that. And so I've been re-energized. My team is then being re-energized because they're seeing me again. Back to the comment we were talking about before we got on the show here about culture and people seeing us.
Absolutely.
Right? And so that's what I've been doing. And in mostly has been focusing on that. And again, the results are they're showing, right? We're doing fantastically well. And then on the coaching side, I've been keeping some things going in the background. And that's really what the podcast, is for, is me really sharing that side of the story on the coaching side. So now getting back into that. And now I'm creating some better boundaries time-wise, because we've cleaned up most of the things we needed to clean up on the GLEP side. But I don't want to go back to ignoring it.
Sure.
So, my hope is to get to a 50-50 and then a 75-25 split where the coaching side, where, if I would ask this of my client over here, if this situation happened and I was working with a client, what would I ask them?
Yep.
Okay, let me ask that same question over here. Instead of being in the business
Mm-hmm.
and not asking that question, let me act as if I'm the coach of the business. Then what would I really ask? So, long-winded, I am still shedding other things, right? So I'm the president of the Dad's Club. It's a big mental space of mine, not time-wise.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been doing that for 7 years, and in 2 weeks I've taken my name out of the hat, and there'll be a new executive board. So there are things that I'm trying to shed back and simplify my
Sure.
life so that I can get back to doing the right things.
One thing I'll make note on, though, on all of the undercurrent of, while you've been doing this coaching piece, the organization still had a great delivery mechanism, right? So you were able to, your customers were never failing because you weren't there.
Oh, right.
So your point is it was almost just the self-infliction of, if I'm not inside of the GLEP mothership, it's just not growing. It's running.
Oh, yeah.
Right. It's running. And so you needed that event to essentially re-inspire you to say, oh, shoot, that person was right when they said, what are you doing to grow? Well, if I would have been growing, then that hit wouldn't have hit you as hard. And then here you are growing back stronger. So I think that for me, the lesson that I think others can learn is, if you have other desires and other penchants that you want to follow, is make sure that what got you there isn't going to suffer. Meaning you couldn't risk your customers not being served appropriately while you explored other areas of your life.
Yeah,
Right. That would have been the complete demise. So if
Yeah,
you were on
right.
the inside, if you were the integrator, you were the operator of the business, which you haven't been for a very long time.
Yeah.
I think this could have been a lot worse.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. This is working out fine based on that fact. So you can't kill the golden goose, right?
Oh, right.
While you're exploring yourself.
Yeah, right. And it's almost like turning the back. I mean, we talked about it a little bit before, of like when you finally hire someone that you've been waiting on forever. Again, like, what do you call it, the integrator, the COO, or again, when as an entrepreneur you're wearing 15 different hats and you finally hire another salesperson. You can't just say, "Oh, great, it's off my plate," and walk away. You still have to nurture that.
Mm-hmm.
You still have to help make sure that you're mentoring that and making sure it's taking the proper steps, or else it'll take its own.
Oh yeah. Yeah. What do you think's next for GLEP, for the coaching practice, for roll call? What do you think we can expect to see in the next X period of time future?
Yeah, well, I starting with GLEP, we've been in, here's another piece of, of business nugget, is scarcity mode versus abundance.
Mm-hmm.
Scarcity mode is sometimes very appropriate to, cut costs and make sure that we're just, hey, we've just got to turn profit. We got to do these things. Well, it's hard to think about the future when you're in that mode. And again, sometimes it's mandatory. There just isn't money coming in.
Mm-hmm.
But shifting to abundance mode is planning, thinking ahead, and not just dreaming, but like, okay, if we do this, we can do that. Like, if we get this milestone, then let's do that. And just realizing that we are in abundance mode now. Not because money is flowing through the building, but because we now can see what it looks like. we had plans before, but we couldn't, it was hard to predict. Now we're predicting well. And the abundance mindset, right? We're hiring people. I see a doubling of the business in the next 2 years. I really feel that there's just that great momentum, great people. We're finding the right people. So that it's going to be, and we're doing the right things, not reacting. We're being proactive and talking to the right markets, et cetera. On the coaching side, I really want to get to 12 to 15 clients that I can't want it more than them, that are growth minded and not just saying it, but they really are. They have a solid team in place. They're in that, 5 to 50 million revenue, that target market, because again, right, what I do is not free. So there's got to be an ability to pay. But they really either want to grow their profit, grow their revenue, or grow time as the owner. That's, and I want to do that selectively. I want to do it to where I can make an impact, and that people that match me, I'm not interested in taking on clients just to take on clients. I have a value to offer, and, but I want to enjoy what I do. I want them to enjoy what I'm bringing in that value. And the roll call is only going to grow more, as far as the podcast goes, right? We've the drill, right? We've recorded plenty, and we kind of drip them out over time. I want to do that more, because now it's just fitting in the time. And as we move forward, I want to create the time for it, because this type of conversation, right? I mean, we've been on for over an hour, or whatever it has been. It's effortless and fun, and I just want to do it more.
That's awesome. Who or what does the dream guest of the podcast look like for you? I mean, aside from me, I know that you've been dreaming of that for a while.
Well, someone with long hair, finisher. Really, I think it is. I think everyone has something to share. I think everyone has something to learn. So anyone, a business owner who's vulnerable, because I like going there. I don't like dancing on the surface.
Obviously, you do.
Yeah. So someone who doesn't have it all figured out, and wants to have a conversation, right?
Great.
So, not necessarily target market. I'd love it if my construction industry would love to jump in on something like this, right? But when we're dealing with contractors, great, all again, electrical, mechanical, general contractors, right? They're typecast in a situation where this fluffy stuff might not be something they want to do, right? They're like, no, just cut the shit. Let me go build this stuff. I'd love to have more of them on. I'd love to just, again, break that mold of what people think a podcast needs to be.
All right. Well, I got an idea for you. I'll make that introduction after here. So
Like
true to form here.
Absolutely.
True to form. So, well, look, this has been great. I think there's a big difference between, somebody who simply teaches and somebody who kind of embodies what they teach and lives it out. And you're kind of using it in so many different ways here of, in therapeutic ways, in teaching ways, in fixing your own business ways. It's pretty awesome, pretty remarkable stuff that you're doing. So, anybody who's looking to make some certain changes, I think certainly tune into the roll call with John Glon. Certainly reach out to John, and I'd be happy to make any of those connections to you that that anybody who calls me, I'll be glad to put them in touch with you.
I know you always do. Thank you.
Well, thanks for being here.
Appreciate it, man.